hmm I downloaded an email, yes, that included a link to the drive that proved that I was not in Brennan, Washington on June 16th of 2017. Yes. And I've sent quite a few of these emails, right, where I document that my sons were taken without any due process. And for some reason, the police department just doesn't really want to do what the law says. Yeah. Now, this email was sent, yeah, quite a long time ago. Yes. And I'm just looking to see the exact date. Now, see all these drives, the Google drives? Yeah. The 777, the 414, the 424, 224, 417. Yes. I've been including those links so that you can see, yes, the actual documentation. Now, this was sent on Monday, October 15th of 2019. Yes. At 12:03 p.m. And approximately a month ago, yes, I informed those that are liable, yeah, that I wasn't in Brennan, yep, and I wasn't in Squim. Oh, and I didn't commit any crime. Yeah. And I've been sitting here, yes, asking, why would it be that you don't want to admit my innocence? Yes. Now, you must have a good reason for it. hmm the thought was what you're making is more important than the actual laws. Yeah. And you're trying to perfect cloning technology so that the individual that you're manufacturing, yes, is impervious to actual pain. Yes. Injury. Oh, oh, oh. I mean, you're making your own army. Yeah. Mm. Now, when thinking about the military and what they have to do every day, yes, there was this thought that they just go to work and they wait for the next war. Where I thought that they had an obligation to make sure that there are no enemies of the United States, yes, that are not, yes, actual human beings. Now, in a war, yes, what is fair is if your enemy is human and you're human, yes, you can actually kill each other. But anytime you're working with technology where the enemy is impervious to death, it's an unfair war. It's never really been written into the laws of war. Yes, but I'm feeling more and more, yes, that you are intentionally wanting to manufacture, yes, something that looks like a person. It may look like a person, yeah, but it's not. So as to make that soldier, yes, impervious to death. Oh. Now, for every time you killed one of these because they were yours, for all the times that you said, well, we just don't talk about this, yes. Did you ever think of the possibility of what you've been manufacturing, yes, could eventually be used against the United States, yes, to kill those that are in the military? See, a lot of these have this idea, yes, that you're not going to kill me, yes, not in this family, no. And if necessary, we will go to war, yes. Now, this judge advocate, the officer of the Judge Advocate General's Corps of the Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, and the United States Coast Guard, yeah, the individual attorneys of the United States military. Every night I email the CID, and for some reason, right, the United States military feels no threat, yes, against anything manufactured that could be used as a war machine, yes, to kill soldiers. Now, I'm thinking that the United States military doesn't have enough to do today. And I could give them something to do. They don't want to admit that there's manufactured, yes, anything and everything that could kill those that are in the military. Well, maybe it's 9 to 5. Yeah. why don't you just find out, yes, of all those that are active duty right now, what is your actual hours of scheduled employment in the United States military? See, I thought it was a volunteer, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and National Guard. Yes. And when you volunteer, you enlist and you agree to a certain pay grade. Yes. Now, let's say you had to work 14 hours a day. Yes. And of course, you'd complain about that. You'd say, well, no, actually, the contractual obligation for myself. Yes. There's no pay increases anymore. Yeah. When you're working in the United States, let's say you went overseas, you're in Iraq, Afghanistan, any of these nations where they're having some sort of military conflict. Yes. There you get 24-hour pay, you get like a danger pay. But if it happens in the United States or the jurisdiction of the United States, you don't actually get any additional pay. It's a pay grade. Yes. Now, I know the military says, well, we have certain hours of operation. Yes. Well, we agreed to schedule you for approximately 9 hours a day. You get a 15-minute break after the first 2 hours. Yeah. You get an hour lunch. Yes. And you get another 15-minute break. And then you go home and they provide your transportation. Do you have a vehicle? Yes. I think that we need to change the actual hours of the employees of the Department of Defense. I know you're workaholics. Yes. You never get home. But let's say we scheduled you for 14 hours a day. Yes. And we had to go through every known being in the United States of America, all 330 million of them, approximate number. And instead of going through the supercomputers and kind of looking at the signatures and the identities, yes, we have to identify every known person within the jurisdiction of the United States. Now, for the 1.2 million of you that said, well, I only work 8 hours a day, we could divide up the whole nation, go through every known citizen. Yes, we can have you be on them. And if they happen to be anything other than an actual human being, you might not get home for the next 5 to 10 years. Now, somebody's not cooperating. And I think that you need more hours for the pay you're receiving. Let's start scheduling you for 14 hours a day. You can have a 15-minute break every 2 hours. Yes. You can take your lunch in 4 hours. You don't get any overtime. See, when you agree to enlist in the military, you agree to the hours that they have. And since we're not having a war, you don't get any additional pay. Now, for all of those that thought, well, we don't have enough to do, when you're scheduled to be on base 14 hours a day, yes, you're scheduled to work 14 hours a day. I feel confident that when you get home, yes, you can sleep and you can go back to work. Now, it looks like somebody right now.